One of the first and primary functions of school when children arrive in kindergarten and grade 1 is to teach children to read. Reading is a complex and individualistic process of making meaning, first from symbols, known as letters, and then words, and ultimately phrases and sentences. No child goes about learning to read in the same manner or at the same pace. No teacher goes about teaching reading the same way either. Teaching reading is a highly individualistic process, and the complexity of learning to read can be baffling to many young students. This means that teachers in the early years of education need to spend a lot of time working in small groups and with individual students to target specific skills and concepts in reading and writing. In what I've learned about effective reading instruction, Johnson states that extensive reading is critical to the development of reading proficiency. Johnson goes on to say that effective teachers get students engaged in literacy activities for 50% of the school day. If anyone has ever visited a grade 1 classroom with 20 or more students, people are struck by the amount of energy and dependence that students have on their teacher, which is of course natural for children who are 6 and 7 years old. So how does a single teacher balance the needs of all 20 or more students and find time to work individually and in small groups? It is very difficult to carve out enough time in the day to give each student an opportunity to practice reading. This is where a purposeful, well-designed app and the proper technology can come to the aid of teachers struggling to find enough time to give students reading practice. Most teachers rely on home reading as an opportunity for students to practice the familiar books that they have worked on in class. One aspect that early years teachers of reading know is that easy reading allows the student to enjoy the process and to use what they know in a smoothly operating system. Jamie Lipp, in Key Reading Recovery Concepts for the Classroom Teacher, goes on to state that easy reading allows readers to enjoy texts and focus on the meaning and help build confidence. The only trouble with easy reading is that the teacher is basically taking a passive role during this time and simply encouraging independence. This is where the daily reading app can help. There are many reading apps available on the market, but none that actually monitor student reading like the Daily app could. There are numerous e-readers to use, including Kindle, iBooks, and Kobo, where some free book options do exist, but these just replace physical books in the classroom. The Tumble Book Company offers books and packs of books that you can purchase from $1 to $4 per book, where words are highlighted as they are read, and there are simple animations added to the original artwork from the books. Books are often read by their author. The 1-minute reader tracks fluency by having students hit a timer when they start reading and hit the timer again at the end to come up with a fluency score. Accuracy is not measured. There is an option to buy books in their bookstore at many different levels, so the app can be personalized for an individual's reading level. The Fluency apps are a group of apps at different levels. Each level costs $1.99. This app identifies the steps and systems they have created to make a fluent reader. Then there are multiple choice tests where students hear people reading and get to choose whether they are reading expressively, accurately, at the appropriate rate of speed, and if the reading is smooth. This app has very limited use. After playing the game once, there is no real need to play it again. Students are not required to read anything in this app. The Daily Learning app would go much farther and be more complex than all of these apps. It is likely that there would be a substantial cost for this app, but due to the flexibility and the features, which include immediate feedback and the ability for teachers and parents to track students' reading, many schools and parents would see the cost as worth it. In the Daily Reading app, students will be able to create their own individual profile and create an avatar of themselves. It will be through this profile that the teacher will receive email updates about the student's progress in reading. Each student will have an individualized library of books that match their reading level, where they can select books that are familiar to them and practice their daily reading. Students at higher levels would have more options available to them. The icons on this page would be big and easy for students to touch on. This app, due to its large icons, would work well on a smartphone or a tablet-sized device. A tablet would be preferable because with the smartphone-sized device, the pictures would have to be shrunk so that the text size would be big enough for children to read. After selecting a book, students will have the choice to listen to the book one more time, race where the reader tries to keep up with the moving highlighted words, or to check their reading for fluency and accuracy, where voice recognition would be used to see how many words were being read correctly and how many words per minute were read. During the listening of the reading of the book, the words would be highlighted on the page as the book is read, and students would be able to follow the text and see the pictures that they would have seen in the hard copy of the book. They would have the option to go to the next page, to pause the reading, or to go to the previous page if they wish to hear the page again. Again, the buttons would be large and easy for a young child to use. It would be developmentally appropriate for the motor development of children in kindergarten or grade 1. When students are listening to reading, they can click on any of the blue words to get definitions of more difficult words to understand. In the race section, students are challenged to keep up with the highlighted words on the page. Before the start of the race, students would get to select whether they were going to read the book in a slow, medium, or quick reading pace. The student's voice would be recorded, and the thermometer display on the bottom would show how well students are doing at keeping up with the highlighted text on the screen. After each page, there would be a short pause while the page is turned automatically for the student. It would also give the student a short time to look at the picture on the next page before the highlighted reading starts again. In the check option of the app, students will read a book and have the voice recognition software that is built into the app recognize whether a student is reading words correctly and be able to send the reading accuracy to the teacher through email. The fluency rate and the number of words per minute would also be emailed back to the teacher. When a teacher sees an accuracy rate of 95% or higher, they would know then that it is time for the student to move to the next level. This is when the teacher may sit down one-to-one with the student and perform a running record to check the student's reading level. During this check option, the student would only see what he or she would normally see on the hard copy of a book, and there would be no other distractions on the page except for the page forward and the page back buttons. The only other consideration might be that if a student is going to reread a piece of text to gather more meaning, he or she would have to go back and touch the word from which they are rereading. When a student has completed a reading level with 95% accuracy or higher, the reader would receive a badge showing that he or she has completed the reading level successfully. A student could view his or her progress by visiting the awards page that would be available in their personal library. In the My Awards page, students could view their progress as well as see their accuracy score and words per minute or fluency score for each reading level. The use of the My Daily Reading app would give more opportunities for students to practice their reading skills. Since young readers need an abundance of practice on familiar and easy books, the reading app can provide chances for daily practice that are difficult to provide for all students in an early years classroom. This app is not going to replace small reading instruction or one-to-one sessions with a teacher where they receive on-the-spot and nuanced teaching about reading and the strategies that each individual needs, but it will provide opportunities for students to increase their confidence, their ability to make meaning from easy text, and to increase the fluency at which they read. With the Daily Reading app, students have the opportunity to personalize their profile by creating an avatar, get reward badges to show the successful completion of their reading levels, which will help to keep interest levels high. The teacher receives a report about each time a student in their class completes a reading level with sufficient accuracy, which can provide the formative assessment needed to check what to teach students next. The teacher also has the ability to unlock reading levels when the students are ready for the next harder level, which allows the teacher the opportunity to differentiate learning easily for all learners in the classroom. Reading is like any other skill. The more practice that a person can have, the better reader they will become.